Hello, I'm Mrs. Kozma, your library media director. I love that the video you just watched, Essential Google Search Tricks for Research, ended with a shout out to libraries. Let me reiterate what he said. Googling is only going to get you so far, so visit your library and use your library's resources. So let me show you how to do that. 1, you can physically come down to the library. 2, you can access all that the library has to offer online as well. All you're going to do is go to your computer's desktop and click the icon that says LHS Library. You can search for books. It's going to pop up right away. You can use collections. A lot of times I create collections that are specific to your classes if your teachers ask me to do so. This is where you would find them. There's links. There's popular titles. You can search by topics. You can search for ebooks. And you can search for audiobooks. If you want to get serious about searching the library's catalog, I suggest clicking here where it says Destiny Discover. That way it opens up in a new window and you can do all sorts of things such as log in. You know how I'm constantly sending you those pesky emails about overdues? If you log in to Destiny Discover, you can avoid all those pesky emails I send to you. So what else can we do? Let's go ahead and scroll down. If you are struggling to find out what you want to read next, you can use the section, What Should I Read Next? If we don't have what you're looking for, don't forget that we've partnered with the Lowell Public Library. I'd be happy to help you find what you need. We're going to focus on databases and credible resources, but let's go back to that in a second. Let me show you what else we have as well. We also have access to certain newspapers and news. We have some college and career information and some miscellaneous resources such as the Indiana Driver's Permit Practice Test. You can also book a time in the library, get some research help. I post all of our library news and events on our webpage as well. And if your class is doing a project, this is also where I will post your project information. Okay, so let's get to the reason that we're here today. If your sidebar doesn't come up, go ahead and click the 3 straight lines that say Show Sidebar so you can see all that we have to offer. So you can go back home. We're going to focus on databases and credible resources. You can open up Destiny Discover to search for books or collections in a new window. Here's your project information and library news, research help, and don't forget about the CRAP test. And finally, you can book a time in the library. So I'm going to go ahead and click on databases and credible resources. So let me tell you a little bit about credible resources. So you're wondering, can librarians help solve the fake news problem? Well, yes we can. We've been doing it for years before fake news even became a term. Misinformation has always existed, but not to the extent that it exists today. Therefore, we can help, but the job has definitely become more of a challenge. In addition, fake news is not news you disagree with or do not like. Fake news is false information or a hoax. By partnering with your classroom teachers, your librarian and teachers can assist you with finding credible sources, using tools to evaluate possibly suspicious sources, and documenting your sources in MLA or APA format. Let's be clear. There's no such thing as alternative facts. Librarians have become dedicated defenders of truth. Alternative facts are like unicorns. They don't exist. These days, getting answers to your questions is just about the easiest thing in the world. However, getting the right answer is more challenging. Librarians and famous author Neil Gaiman have known this for years, but one thing is certain in the information age: discerning fact from fiction is the 21st century skill. The overarching goal for research is to grow a generation of students who cannot be duped by fake news. In today's world, you have to be savvy consumers of information. In other words, digital detectives. Below is a list of resources that have been evaluated for you. The information found below is fact, not fiction. You will not find fake news or alternative facts from information in the list below. Just the facts and nothing but the facts. Facts matter. The truth matters. Let me start out by taking a look at all of the Gale databases. So if I go ahead and click here, the first one that's going to open up is called Biography and Context. All of the databases have a little blurb underneath them telling you what they're used for. If you were given an assignment in class to write about a person that you admire or maybe to do some background on an author, Biography and Context is a great one to use. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And I'm going to use Margaret Atwood as the person I want to find out a little bit more about, because I am a big fan of not only the book The Handmaid's Tale, but also the series that's on Netflix. So I'm just going to start typing Margaret Atwood. The best thing to do is, even if you know you're going to spell it correctly, is to actually grab their suggestion from below. That way you get what I call the whole kit and caboodle page. You get your introductory paragraph. You always click read more because it's more than just what's there. In addition, we have featured content about Margaret Atwood. 9 articles that are considered featured content. This means these have been updated most recently. We have 12 biographies on her. 2 articles that come from reference, 19 academic journal articles, 8 images that are free to use, and you don't have to worry about copyright. We have a video about her, 12 audio clips, 330 news articles, 254 magazine articles, and 1 website that has passed the CRAP test, and you don't have to do it yourself. And so let me just go ahead and click on that introductory paragraph where it says read more, so I can show you all the cool tools that are also here. If you sign in with Google, you can bookmark it so that you can get back to it later. You can use the citation tools. You can highlight things that you might want to add to your research or your keynote presentation or to your paper. You can save it to your Google Drive. You can email it to yourself. You can share it with your teammates that might be in your group. There's all kinds of cool things that you can do with the in-context databases. And we actually do have several in-context databases. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the list. We also have one called Books and Authors, Contemporary Authors Online, Gale Literary Sources, the Gale Virtual Reference Library. I also like this one. I'm going to go ahead and click on it just to show it to you. And this is our collection of ebooks and online reference books. They work just like a regular book, but you turn the pages online. And there's quite a bit of information on there on a wealth of topics. Okay, let me go ahead and go back. We have 2 health and wellness databases. We have one on Indiana history. We have a Spanish database, Lit Finder, 2 military databases, 2 nursing databases, and if you've come to see me before in a class, this one is my all-time favorite, Opposing Viewpoints. This is the one that I love. It's one of my all-time favorites because it provides both sides of controversial topics. So it's a great resource for persuasive writing or even debates. After Opposing Viewpoints in Context, we have Science in Context. I'm just going to go ahead and open it up quickly though so that you can see that all of the in-context databases are sort of laid out in the same way. So if I were to choose, you can see we have our introductory paragraph, featured content, journals, reference material, biographies, images, audio, news, magazines, and so forth, and all the same cool tools that you have with all of the in-context databases. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my back button here and then show you that we have the Small Business Resource Center. We have Student Resources and Contacts, which is another in-context database, and it's sort of a catch-all for everything. This is also a really good starter point for research. And finally, we have the Testing, Education, and Reference Center. And those are just our Gale Power Search databases. So if we go on back to the library's web page, after that we have our Basic Inspire search. I love the Basic Inspire search because it always starts out with a research starter. So if I go back to Margaret Atwood and I go ahead and click on that, once it loads, I can show you how we start out with that research starter right here. And that's a great place to start. My tip for using the Basic Inspire search is to save yourself the frustration of finding an article that you would have to buy. That might be something you'd have to do after high school, but if we go over here on the left and limit it to full text, if you scroll up, you can still see that we have 55,000 articles on Margaret Atwood, and I think that that would be more than enough that you would need. Okay, I'm going to go ahead back to the library's homepage. We went through Biography and Context. We have a biomedical reference collection, ERIC, Explorer Encyclopedia, Gale Literary Sources, our Gale Virtual Reference Library. Some of these I've put on here that also are encompassed in the Gale databases, but it's because certain teachers use them and it just makes it a little bit easier to find. Global Issues is also a great in-context database, but we borrow this one from the Lowell Public Library, so you do have to use your digital access card. I really like Google Books. It's different from a Google search because you are only searching books. Books that have gone through an evaluation process and you know for sure you're getting facts, not any false information. So if I were researching for bullying, you can see that all of the books on bullying come up. Another thing that I like to do is when I hit, let's see, let me go back to books. Okay, so under Tools, where it says Any Books, I like to click where it says Preview Available. That way, you're not just getting a book that they're trying to sell to you, you're actually getting a book that you're going to get. They're actually extremely generous with their previews. So here's one called Bully, what every parent, teacher, and kid needs to know about finding the cycle of fear. And you would just turn the pages just like you would in any online book. And so that is Google Books, which again is completely different from just doing a random Google search. Okay, so if we go back over to the library's webpage, two of them that I really want to point out, if you're studying art or music, Grove Oxford Art and Grove Oxford Music are the premier databases for art and music. If you use them at school, they will go directly there. And if you are using them at home, you do need a password. And you can kind of see where I've sort of hidden our passwords that you would need at home on our page, because I would hate for you to get home, start working, and then not be able to get in. So I'm just going to click on Grove Oxford Art just to kind of give you a sneak peek of all that it has to offer. But we are actually extremely lucky to have both of these databases here. So I hope at some point you do get a chance to use them in class. Okay, and underneath there, we have a little bit more by Inspires. I've repeated our in-context databases, and we can also get to world history in context, but once again, we are sharing that with the public library, so we have to use our digital access card that you guys got in advisory a while back. Okay, last thing I want to point out is the CRAP test. If you aren't using it to evaluate articles that you find, just searching Google, you should be. Here's a handy worksheet that you can use to make sure what you find online passes the test and that you are getting something that is factual and not biased. You just kind of go through, give it points, get a final score, and then you can find out if it's a good source or not to use. On top of that, you can also come to me and I will help you make an informed conclusion about something that you found online. So don't forget that it's there. Okay. Lastly, as I wrap up, remember our goal here is to create a generation of students who cannot be tricked by false news, hoaxes, or fabrications. Like it or not, you are this generation's digital detectives. Make us proud, LHS. Facts matter. The truth matters. Happy researching.